This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about Cal-Ben 5-star soaps for years. This is an American-made product of the highest quality and compares to nothing you will find in stores. You can buy factory direct, shipped via UPS right to your door. Check them out on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091. Take my word for it. Once you've used pure soap, you won't buy anything else. Since 1947, Cal-Ben Soap Company has been showing consumers that soap can be tough on dirt and gentle on the environment. Buy American and stay clean, as well as support InfoWars. Visit 5starsoap.com today or call 1-800-340-7091. Well, Marty, what do you have to say?
As founder and owner for over 63 years, satisfaction is guaranteed or double your dirt back. Call us at 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog or visit our website, 5starsoap.com. Thank you.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
We have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
You know, even 5-6 years ago, when mainstream media would lie about me, when people I know would lie about me, psychopaths, stalkers, people that have moved into Austin to basically try to persecute me, I would hate them at a certain level. Now I don't even hate them. I really feel sorry for them to see how fallen they are. And I see more and more of the public who have not woken up to what's happening, because there's two different groups, those that have woken up and are becoming more enlightened, more informed, and others who are getting deeper into deception. They deceive themselves. It's really magical thinking. An example of this, because I actually looked up the numbers, and I understand talk radio, been doing it for 16 years, been syndicated for 14. Media Matters came out and said that Glenn Beck had lost a bunch of his radio stations and had fallen beneath 400. And I'm only using Glenn Beck as a case point example of media deception. We can use him as an example when he's being deceptive or when he's being accurate. But in this case, it's George Soros and Media Matters, and they came out and said he's fallen beneath 400 radio stations. He's a failure. He's going under. So I actually went to Premiere. This is like 2 days ago. I notice it's now in the news today, exactly what I discovered. It's just the facts. That he has 437 radio stations and gained 88 in the last 12 months and lost 7. Ladies and gentlemen, stations are always selling, changing formats, deciding to put on local talk. I mean, that is quite frankly, losing 7 stations when you gain 80 8 of them. I mean, that's a number. I've looked up Limbaugh. He might gain 100 stations in a year, lose 50, 60. I mean, we gain stations more than we lose, but over time we lose stations to format changes, to other things. That's just what happens. Or new management. And they have a different idea of what they want to do. But, I mean, right there is just an example of Media Matters knowing full well they were involved in deception. But they're not magical thinkers. They're cold-blooded people manipulating childlike people. It's called the false victory. They build a straw man. They say Glenn Beck is done. He's plunging. He is actually plunging on TV. But that's just because TV across the board is dying because it can't compete with the internet. That's the main reason. And I did do some poking around. He did lose a few of those stations last week. And I'm not surprised for the rant about things I can't even say on air. Sucking of sores, sexual parts. I mean, in an attack on yours truly. And I'm actually sad for Glenn because overall, better his show be on a lot of stations out there than other ones. I mean, he at least talks about the private Federal Reserve, George Soros, the world government. But I did do some checking, and looks like he, not just because of that episode, but other vulgar episodes. That's one thing conservative radio will not put up with. I mean, I've done mild things, just reporting on what other people did, and had big stations drop me over the years. I've described partial birth abortion and had stations drop us. And guess what? I still do it occasionally. But there is kind of that, well, do I want to get kicked off stations, or do I want to be able to cover all this other information? But I still do discuss it from time to time. But I see the George Soros crowd constantly running around saying the liberty movement's dead. The liberty movement is collapsing. The liberty movement is weak. The liberty movement is discredited. The liberty movement is violent. And then for every case of a conservative or libertarian beating up a so-called liberal, I find more than 10, I know you see this as well, of the different union thugs brutally beating people. And then a Rand Paul supporter puts his foot on a woman to hold her down because she rushed the car and threw something in it, and they thought, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, when a major senatorial or gubernatorial or presidential candidate is driving up and you run out of a line in front of cops and throw something in the car, you'll be lucky if you don't get tasered or taken to jail because they may think you're doing something violent. I mean, that's very dangerous. So a Rand Paul guy puts his foot on her, and that becomes this big sensation, remember, 4 or 5 months ago, of violence. And meanwhile, union thugs in Florida, you name it, beating people over the heads with 2x4s, and it never gets on the national news. And so, again, it's all about perception, and it makes me so angry that the stock and trade of mainstream media and George Soros and others is to play on people's lack of three-dimensional or even two-dimensional thinking to deceive them. Now, that said, I don't make it my business to sit up here and attack Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity. I have had to go after Beck a bit because he tells host, well, that too, but I better not say anymore, because he tells a guest on his show, okay, I noticed you've been on Alex Jones's show before I had you on. I'm not going to have you on anymore if you go on his show. And I've had multiple. It's now 3 different guests say, yeah, I was told don't come on your show anymore, or I won't be back. And he tells other people on the Fox network, I hear you have Alex Jones on tomorrow. No, you don't. Or you'll never be on my show again. And, you know, I mean, get out of my life, man. I've got serious things to talk about, and I don't territorialize this information. The more the merrier that wake up to the New World Order. But I was around 16-plus years ago. You've only been talking about New World Order for about 4 years. And great, but don't see me as a competitor just because I'm, you know, in a cover story in Talkers magazine about the fastest growing talk radio in the country. That's what the industry's now admitting. Don't get mad just because there's a feature story in Rolling Stone or New York Magazine or Nightline or MSNBC. I mean, the fact is, we do have 3 million listeners a day now. We do have millions of visitors a day now to the websites. We do dwarf you on the internet, and our growth curve is going off the chart, and we're gaining about 3 AM and FM affiliates a week. So Beck can see that we're coming up on him. And look, man, I don't care. I mean, I don't see Lou Dobbs as competition or Judge Andrew Napolitano. I don't see Rush Limbaugh as competition, even though I'm up against him in this time slot. That's because 14 years ago, Ted Anderson said, we'd like you to stop doing 1 hour a day. We want you to go to 3 hours a day in this time slot. This is what stations are asking for. That's why, and I go up against Rush Limbaugh, and they go, yeah. And I said, I want to call the show InfoWars. And they go, well, we want to call it the Alex Jones Show. And I said, fine, have it your way. You know, they don't tell me what to say or what to do on this show, but they do have, at least in the past, a little bit of, you know, when we think this is the slot, this is the name of the show, do you like that idea? And I said, yes. So when I go after Rush Limbaugh, which I'm about to do, it's because I really feel sorry for him. I want to improve him. I mean, I am improved all the time by listener advice. I am improved and excoriated, rebuked by people all the time. And when it's real criticism and I see it, I'm thankful for it. Most of it isn't legitimate. It's delusional. But when Limbaugh got caught with synthetic heroin, hillbilly heroin, Oxycontin, basically off the market now, it's so deadly, taking upwards of 100 pills a day, that's enough to kill roughly 8 full-size horses, it was estimated. That's how big his tolerance was. I didn't say throw Rush Limbaugh in prison. I didn't do that. I said, now, it's wrong that you're for minimum cocaine sentences and heroin sentences, though, Limbaugh, which he's pushed really hard over the years. I said, why don't you now come out against at least minimum sentences, 5 to 10 years in prison the first time somebody gets caught with cocaine or heroin, crack cocaine or heroin. And he hadn't done that. I mean, he was gobbling 100 pills a day of synthetic heroin, doctor shopping to get it, totally addicted. He was sick. And that can happen to anybody. With alcohol or cocaine, heroin, anything. I didn't sit there and judge him and go, look, this big guy has fallen. This big guy is in trouble. Man, I'm going to call him a pillhead over and over again, like so many other mainline conservative hosts did. I don't rush in when I see somebody big who's fallen and get gleeful about it. Unless you're somebody like Ann Coulter saying the Japanese ought to be thankful for the radiation, it's good for them. Lady, they're now admittedly in the hospitals, and their own government says the deaths are about to begin. You need to go over there and live in the reactor, or you need to retract what you said. You know, that type of thing. Again, I just can't think of what type of horrible person you have to be like that. Or George Monbiot, the big socialist. But all of that said, where am I going with this Limbaugh situation? Then I'm going to get back into the news. Last night, I surfed around monitoring the news for a few hours, and I saw a Limbaugh clip praising the deaths in Afghanistan, basically. And I saw the title of it, and I said, that can't be true. And I clicked on it, and sure enough, and then I didn't want to just go off the audio clip because that can be edited. I went to his site and found the transcript. They put his rants up there, and there it was, bigger than Dallas, on his website. And I was ashamed that a fellow American talked like this. It freaked me out because it shows how decadent we've gotten. And I'm going to play the clip in a moment. But he said, oh, Rolling Stone magazine. And we're going to play part of the clip. We don't have time to play 10 minutes of it. We're going to play part of it. He said, oh, you know, Rolling Stone magazine, they're talking about accidental deaths of civilians. Oh, my gosh, this is terrible. Because back in the old days at Hiroshima and Nagasaki and Dresden, we wanted to kill civilians. We wanted to kill people and break things. And he basically acted like it was all manly and cool and great. Well, according to that statement, and I'm going to get into the history first before I play it, because there's multi-facets to this. According to that statement, if you believe the official story of 9/11, NORAD magically stands down, 3 aircraft do maneuvers that top fighter pilots say they couldn't even do.